everyone, this is Nate Ortiz, and you're listening to Walking in Power. And I want to talk to you about a passage out of James chapter 4, verse 2. In this life, if you are a go-getter or a leader, there are things that you set goals for. There's marks that you want to hit, levels of success that you personally may navigate for yourself or determine for yourself. But how we get things in life often speaks to our motives, whether they are pure or impure. And we always want to get the things that we desire lives in the most appropriate ways, the proper ways, the way that God's word lines it out. Because there's times that if we're being honest, we can want certain things in life, and it might be fueled by things that are not godly. It might be pride, it might be jealousy, insecurity. But there's things that God can give us a passion, desire, and a heart that we go after, and we go about in a way that is honoring to God. So wherever we get, when we achieve those goals or reach that destination, we understand that we can point to God wholeheartedly and with a pure heart and mind to say, God did everything that I have been able to accomplish, even the shortcomings, even the losses. God has still been there for me. And I want to read James chapter 4, verse 2, because it touches on this topic. It says, "You want what you don't have, so you scheme and kill to get it. You are jealous of what others have, but you can't get it, so you fight and wage war to take it from them. Yet you don't have what you want because you don't ask God for it." Have you ever been in a place where you look around and you feel like people are passing you up, or you don't feel like you're reaching your full potential? I want to encourage you just a couple things to do. First thing is, when you're feeling that place of that things are going your way, you just need to stop. Take a moment to stop and evaluate. So stop and evaluate your life. The first thing I like to tell people is really evaluate where you are spiritually. That is going to set the course for so many things. But stop. Evaluate your spiritual life. When's the last time you've been praying? When's the last time you've been to church? When's the last time you've talked to someone else about what God is doing in your life? Sometimes those answers, it's kind of hard to come up with. But if we're honest and we just stop and take a moment to say, you know what? This pride or this jealousy or these other things are creeping up my life because I haven't been in my word. I haven't been in the place to say, God, what are you speaking to me? What are you doing in my life? And so it's important that we always do that periodically. We stop and evaluate to make sure we're heading in the right direction. We've heard the leadership principle that says you can get 1% better each day. But guess what? If that's true, the opposite is true as well. That if you aren't careful, 1%, you can slide the other way. And so you want to be someone who's able to stop and be reflective and think about what's going on in your life. So when you stop and evaluate, the next thing you have to do is begin to think about, what is the plan of action? What's the plan of action that you're going to lay out for yourself? So it's not just saying, well, I need to grow in these areas and hopefully that happens doing the same thing I've always been doing. No, you have to stop, evaluate, say, okay, these are areas I need to grow in. Then what is your plan of action to say, God, with your help, what are the things that you're asking me to do? Because if you don't have a plan of action and you're just led by your just emotions, you're just led by your gut instinct or gut reactions, there are going to be times where you're going to have just regret for how you handled something, or you're going to handle things in an ungodly way. And when you do those things, sometimes you find yourself always having to course correct for one bad decision. You tell one lie here, or you do one thing, that's not filled with integrity here. Then you find yourself just always having to compensate or trying to maneuver a situation. But when you are someone who has a plan of action that is honoring to God, you're able to move forward with that plan with all the effort, all the momentum that you have and that God will give. And God will line up the doors. God will line up situations. God will put you in the right place at the right time. But we have to stay faithful in that. And when you do all those things, you have you stop, you evaluate, you have a plan of action. I think the last thing is, when you go to God and say, God, what is this what you have for me? Right? The things that you maybe don't even have active in your life, or simply because you haven't taken it to God in prayer. You haven't been thinking about it, or you're reading what the word says. I think there's people I've seen in life that they either go to the place of, I'm going to do this, and then they don't ask God, hey God, what are you feeling? What are you thinking? Because we have to be people of action. You can't be someone who just says, well, if God's going to do it, he's going to do it. No, you have to be someone who says, Lord, I'm willing to put this plan of action, and obviously it's going to be honoring to God. You're not going to do something that's not honoring to God and ask God, hey, what do you think? You're going to do something that's going to be honoring to God, and you ask God, God, is this the direction? And sometimes you'll hear a definitive yes, right? It could be in relationships or business. There's times you'll hear a definitive yes, and there's other times you'll hear a definitive no. But guess what? There's a good chunk of time where you won't have a clear direction. I don't know what God's speaking. But the most important part is that you ask God to go with you in everything that you're doing. So when you think about just these decisions and where you are in life and the things you're trying to achieve, are you getting them in the best way possible? The relationships, the accolades in business, the growth, are these things that are honoring to God and how you're going about them and getting them? Because if they aren't, you got to stop, you got to evaluate, then you have to have a plan of action. But then you ask God, God, is this the direction that you have? And he is faithful and true to always show you where you need to go. So listen, remember, as we just read in James chapter 4, verse 2, to say at the end here, it says, yet you do not have what you want because you don't ask God for it. So ask God for the things that you're desiring in this life. He'll show you the way. He'll give you the path. He'll point you in the right direction. So I hope this has been a blessing and encouragement to you in walking with power. I'll see you guys next time.